Yes, hello and welcome to the Thursday show. It is 8 p.m. It is a Thursday. It can only mean one thing, and that's that it's time for the Thursday show. A show that has been going since the start of the pandemic, by which I mean the Spanish flu in 1918. Yes, we have survived plague, pestilence, and Lynn Ruth Miller's Wi-Fi to come to you, to bring comedy, to bring guests, to bring news and the funnies. And as you can already see, we've got people commenting. Hello once again, Christy over in Melbourne. Hello, Jay. Hello, Pete and Martha. All of you guys see commenting below. Please keep those comments coming throughout the show. We will be reading out the best ones there. Give us a like if you're on Facebook. If you're feeling extra generous, then give us a share. And if you are feeling madly generous, then you can donate. Yes, this show is free to watch, but it's not free to make. You can go to paypal.me/freefestonline. If you want to donate, if you want to donate a £5, that is incredibly kind. If you want to donate a £10, that is unbelievably kind. If you want to donate £15, then I would go and see your GP. There is obviously something wrong. Now, this week we've got two wonderful guests, a returning favourite, Donal Vaughan, and author, origin, and chief Jedi of Laughing Horse, KEVIN MCCARRON. We've also got two special guests, meaning Bob Doolally is back with a special report on the Euros 2020. Something that I genuinely could not care less about. So let us know how much or little you care about the sport. To be honest, I'm more interested in what's been going on at number 10 after Dominic Cummings revealed WhatsApp messages which show that Boris Johnson had called Matt Hancock hopeless. Today, Jacob Rees-Mogg has run to Hancock's defense, saying that he is a genius. It's a bit like Prince Andrew calling you good company. So in order to try and make sense of this and much more, I'm going to introduce the man who is Buzz to my Woody. That's not a reference to Toy Story. That's what I call my sex toys. It's the wonderful Jay SODAGAR.
Yes. There you are.
There he is.
Yeah, he's going to swap it. He's going to swap it. I know he's going to swap it. No, he didn't. Oh, bless him. Oh, bless you. How have you been, Dave?
Very good. There he is. I'm very good, thank you, mate. Been all ticking along. The weather has finally cracked, but yeah, just been all right. How about you? Are you wearing scrubs this week?
Yes, I am. I'm wearing scrubs.
Working hard on the
hospital. I have no idea what scrubs are, but yes. This is the closest I'm ever going to get to a doctor. This is
right.
It.
Very good.
But, no, I've been watching GB News. It's the new news channel that started up, and it is hilarious. This is literally if Alan Partridge was real, this is it. This is not even like a 6-part series or a sitcom radio. This is serious, and I love the fact that like one of their biggest complaints on the first week, on the first 2 days, is they received comments from the public, which is it's a debate channel, as it were, with opinions and views and analysis and a little bit of news. That like they've got dodgy people commenting in on stuff like that. Mike Hunt, obviously, Mike Oxlong, there you go, and they actually had a meltdown on the channel where they actually said that it's just ridiculous. It really is. We're just not going to read out names anymore. And I was like, oh, bless. I love the British spirit and the fact that even they can take the piss out of a brand new news channel just like that. Richard Madeley's on it. And I never liked the fucker anyway. But never mind. This is good. But speaking of which, look, I know there's a little announcement that we're going to be making fairly soon about Thursday show. But I wanted to read out some of the comments that we've received over the time. One of which is, I love Dave Chawner. You look really, really young, bless. And that's from Peter O'File. So that's that one. And I've got another one. Jay is anti-American. I'm not. Look, I've got like a Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-American. Jay is anti-American, and his comments about Donald Trump are wrong. Okay. Hello. Eider down. Yes. There you go. This is GB News launch night. This is it. Lovely. But yes, no, Jay is anti-American, and his comments about Donald Trump are wrong. And that's from Seymour Arsprack. I love these. I love these. We've got one all the way from Japan. Got one from Japan. I love watching the New Year's Eve show, especially me getting pissed, apparently. And that's from Yuri Nater. So there you go. And I've got a final one from Scotland. I appreciate you guys pushing the boundaries of comedy. From Leo Curse. So there you go. So it's lovely to receive these little comments from people. Well, Peter O'File, love you.
Speaking of Scotland, we are going to welcome a Scottish comedian and a friend and co-presenter of the show. It's the one, the only Vladimir MCTAVISH.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we tonight? You all right?
Very good.
I'm just waiting for Hugh Janus to make a comment on the show. Hugh Janus and Warwick Hunt. Anyway, yeah, isn't it marvelous to see GB News has been such a fucking failure? Mainly because of the people involved. I mean, yeah, Andrew Neil and Piers Morgan are two people you would never cease to want to see falling flat in the faces. I mean, and that's the whole thing. The whole enterprise is people by, I guess the technical phrase for these people is a packet of cunts, as they're known in journalistic circles. But yes, as Dave was alluding to, one of the revelations from Dominic Cummings, the stunning revelation that Boris Johnson actually told the truth. Never know. I say that Matt Hancock was fucking useless. He then went on to point out that bears do shit in the woods and the Pope. I can't help but it's the marvelous. Government is now run on WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's so scary.
Yeah. I mean, WhatsApp is kind of like, is this the state-of-the-art technology that can't be hacked into? We'll set up a WhatsApp group. Wonder what it's called. Cabinet of Arseholes. Anyway, up here, we are beginning to emerge from the bleakest period of our recent past, i.e., Monday, when after a gap of 23 years, Scotland finally qualified for a major tournament, thereby putting aside 23 years of heartache, pain, and disappointment, and replacing it with approximately 50 minutes of heartache, pain, and disappointment. Yeah. What a fucking anticlimax to the whole nation going completely mental. And then we played brilliantly for the first 40 minutes. We're away in Czech Republic. And then they showed us how you score goals, which apparently is how you win football games. Being the better team isn't enough, but it does help if your goalkeeper doesn't stand around halfway smoking a fag or whatever it was he was doing. But that's all right. It's been forgotten now because we've got the big one tomorrow. We have got England v Scotland at Wembley Stadium. I am now talking to you from a deserted country. Get ready for it, guys. We will all be down there, apart from me. I'm following government guidelines and not travelling. But yeah, you will see a lot of kilts, bare arses, and vomit over the next couple of days down in the capital city. No, it's the thing to get excited about. The whole nation. It's not just. This is the thing that England fans, I don't think, quite understand, is that England v Scotland isn't just about sport. It's about history. This is about not just about recent history. This is about 300 years of history. This is Bannockburn. This is 2014 all over again. And no, they are going to be well up for it. And you won't be able to get into a pub anywhere in London. Although I can predict that quite easily. It'll be full of guys wearing CU Jimmy wigs. In fact, buy one, either of you, if you need a pint. But no, excitement has reached fever pitch once again. And I'm very pleased to reveal that following his appearance on last week's Thursday show, Scottish footballing legend Bob Doolally has been called up by the team manager to help with the preparations for tomorrow night's game at Wembley. And in fact, he now joins us live from the Scotland Team Hotel. Good evening, Bob. Are you there? Oh, evening, Bob. Oh, slight technical issues with Bob's volume here. Right, Bob. Oh, yeah. So, we might want to take this back to the start again and just see if we can get Bob Doolally back on tonight. Good evening, Bob.
If we can get live link ups are weird.
Live link. What we might do is we might try and talk to Bob later on. But first of all, what we might do is welcome our brilliant first guest. Very excited to introduce him. But before we do, a couple of things that I did want to say was don't forget it's not too late to donate, because these big production values don't pay for themselves. PayPal.me/FreeFest online. You can also see on the bottom of the screen as well. Brighton Fringe Fest is going ahead. Way! Go and see some live comedy in person. Visit BrightonFringeFest.co.uk. We're going to have shows all the way through to the 27th of June. And also an announcement that I did promise coming. Last week is going to be the last of the weekly Thursday shows. It's going to be Flying Solo with Jay and Vlad. We will give you a little bit more of info about that after our first interview. He's a brilliant man. He is one of the founding fathers of Laughing Horse. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the wonderful Kevin McCarron.
Yes. Bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you. How are you, Kevin?
I'm really good, Jay. Really good. Thanks for asking. You're looking good yourself.
Ah, thank you. It's lockdown for me. It's lockdown. That's what it is. Bless. Listen, just as a bit of a background info, you're a comedian from way back when, and you are the co-founder of Laughing Horse way back when. And we've been friends for a very, very long time. I remember the very first time I'd met you and Alex. It was in, I think it was in 1999. And I had stopped doing comedy for about 6 months, and I was in a relationship, and that broke up. And I used to hang around Chinatown quite a lot. I used to go to Wonki's, the restaurant just in Chinatown in London. And I was feeling sorry for myself. I was a bit beaten up and so on and so forth. The relationship was going to be the one, but I guess it didn't. And then I was moping around Chinatown, and you and Alex ran a gig at the Blue Post just around the corner from Wonki's, and it just said live comedy tonight. And I was missing comedy, so I was like, I'll just pop in and watch. And I popped in, and Alex was there. And the instincts of a comic is like, I have to try and go on. I haven't done this in over 6 months. Asked Alex. Then that's the very first time I ever met Alex and you. It's been a long old history. Tell me about the early days of Laughing Horse.
What you could have said about at the end of that story was that I was brilliant. Why did you leave that bit out? Really? I remember that club particularly because when we opened it, it was January or February, something like that. And Alex and I flyered for it. And we actually at one point bought coffee. We drank enough of it. Our hands were so cold, we bought coffee just to stay warm. And then the only person who turned up was you.
Yes, I was audience as well as headliner that night. Yes, the only audience as a headliner. Bless. I do miss the early days of gigging, because like London was our playground. Literally, London was our playground. And I remember the mad old acts that were going on around then. And you've seen your fair share. You've seen your fair share. Have you got any stories of early stories?
I can remember an act who's not going any longer, but her whole routine involved her pulling fish out of her pants and chucking them at the audience.
Yes.
Pretty much it. I'm not kidding. Yeah. You know,
I remember her.
God. Another one who was like a tiny woman, absolutely tiny, and her act involved her folding herself inside a carrier bag, you know, a shoulder bag, and she had this huge guy carrying her around, and all she would do was stick a leg out, you know. I mean, it was funny that she thought it was comedy, you know what I mean? But yeah, Alex and I have seen some really, really grim acts. Yeah.
Oh yes. I remember. One of the things. I guess the relationship between me, you, and Alex started way back then, and progressed further to a point in 2005, New Year's Eve at Richmond. Proposed to my missus, and you were emceeing that night.
So I'd known, obviously you were headlining, I'd known you'd be up there for a while. So I'd gone right to the back of the bar, and I was with Alex, we were listening. There was quite a few people between us. Of course, it was rammed, the room was sold out. Not because you were headlining, but because it was New Year's Eve. But, you know. Anyway, when you proposed, I started inching my way forward, because I thought the answer would be really quick. And I assumed it would be yes. But as the tension in the room racked up, she wasn't saying yes all that quickly, it seemed to me. I was exchanging glances with Alex. Bryce, what am I going to do if she says no? How the fuck am I going to bring this back? I mean, that's the biggest down we would have ever had on New Year's Eve. But fortunately, eventually, after what seemed like half an hour, she did say yes. God, that could have gone so badly wrong.
Yes,
but most crowd nights didn't go wrong.
I remember that night very vividly, obviously for obvious reasons. But one thing I remember is I didn't have a ring. I didn't have a ring to actually give to her. And someone from the audience took their ring off, gave it to me to go and put it on her finger. And I was like, oh, wow, this is so cool. I so miss those days. I really, really do miss those days.
That paid for your honeymoon.
Yeah, that did. That ring was platinum. It was platinum. Stupid woman for giving me that ring. Stupid woman. Never mind. But no, it was so much fun. But also, we've known each other for more than 20 odd years. Gosh, we've done all sorts of gigs. We went all around the south of France. I remember that. I remember doing all sorts of gigs with you. In fact, I remember when I saw you do your very first hour show. I think it was also at the Blue Post as well. But you got an encore. I remember you were recording it as well. You got an encore, and that's always stuck in my mind because I was emceeing that night. And it was my very first time seeing someone live do an hour, that somebody I knew and I'd seen and worked with and so on and so forth, and do an hour, and you got an encore after it. And that
was very fun.
Yeah, no. For me, what that did for me is I after that point, I always wanted to do a killer hour like that, and just constantly just keep working and that was my driving force. So I wanted to thank you first of all for showing me how an hour gets done, but also just to give me that motivation to kind of go, wow, you kicked ass that night. That's the kind of shit I've got to do.
So hang on a second, are you saying you have done that?
Yeah, fuck off. Oh, bless you. But listen. I can see you've stocked up on all your DVDs in the background there. You haven't got a dildo going on like you normally do. What have you been up to during lockdown? What have you been up to?
I've been finishing writing a book that I've been working on for some years, and in fact, I retired from the university to make sure I'd finish it because the teaching load increases, the admin load, and I just thought I'll never finish. So I retired just as the COVID thing hit, and it worked out okay for me, really, because I just got my head down and finished the book, like 90,000 words. It's a big book.
Yeah, no. I know you've been working on this book for quite some time. It's about addiction.
There you go.
Freezing. Books about addiction. Tell me a bit more about it.
The principal part of the book is it's attacking the idea that addiction, drug addiction, alcoholism are diseases. I mean, this is a widely held view by the medical establishment and so on. And I'm essentially making fun of the idea that, knocking back 12 pints and then staggering around the pub with a pot plant on your head or something is indicative of a disease. That's just bullshit. And so I have, it's a pretty grumpy book, to be fair. I know I look genial, but the book is a fairly grumpy piece of work, I have to say. Probably made grumpier by lockdown, to be fair. I wasn't seeing you guys getting it all out. I wasn't getting my bile out. It's all part of the book. But the publisher seems to like it, grumpy or not. Yeah, I am concerned, if you like, at the use of words like disease and illness, relapse, recovery. These are all medical terms that seem to me completely inappropriate when dealing with something people like to do so much they become dependent. For me, that's all it. Alcohol tastes good. It makes people feel good. Some people drink so much of it that they become alcoholic. All right? But that's not because they've got a disease. That's because they like drinking. I don't know why the work hasn't been done in Scotland, to be honest. I don't know why. Well, obviously, I'm not really an Englishman, of course. I'm a New Zealander, as you know. Or as everybody else in the comedy circuit thinks in Australia. How many times I told them, I'm from New Zealand, actually. And then I saw them, tie me kangaroo down, sport. Like, fuck off.
And that was written by Peter O'File. There you go. So, listen, what's the future for Kevin? Are you making a comeback into stand-up? Are you now done with it? You kind of, because you led a life. You're the one that, like, all of us sort of sat there and went, wow, that guy's done stuff.
And I am thinking of making a comeback after seeing you guys.
Have I set the bar higher or lower than you?
What I'd like to do at the moment is write another book. I read so much of this one that I've got lots of stuff I couldn't say in this one. Also, this next one wouldn't be an academic book, which this one is. It's been published by an academic press. It was subsidised largely by the university. I'd like to write something with more widespread appeal. More less references, less footnotes.
Chick. You're going to write chick. Is that what you're going to do?
No, this will be seriously high quality, not remotely shit. Each one of those words has to be hyphenated, by the way. Not remotely shit or hyphenated. So I wouldn't be doing any of that sort of thing. I'd be chatting, chatting to hoi polloi, basically. And there'll be a few, like, you know what I mean, and things in it. And, in it, like, 2 minutes. Addiction. Yeah. I'm coming down to watch you guys next Friday, I think, in Brighton.
Yes. I was going to say let's meet up for a drink, but you might think that might be just a disease or something like that. You're a doctor as well. You're a doctor now. Now, not a doctor in the medical sense. You're a doctor of philosophy.
Philosophy, that's right.
And you have a contention about doctors and why, like, medical doctors are called doctors. Explain to me.
Medical doctors are erroneously called doctors because the huge majority of them don't actually have a doctorate. I am a real doctor. Somebody who could save your life is a quack. I mean, let's be clear about this. Around a blocked trachea, I'd be of no value whatsoever. I fully concede that. But when it comes to thinking about the infinite, I'm your man. I don't see why society has messed this up so badly. So that they actually say to me, I've had people say to me, really, I know you won't believe this, you're not a real doctor. Fuck off. I am a real doctor. You see, an MD is not a PhD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah, I see your logic. Because in essence, like, medical doctors are not called. There you go. You met my shrinking Ben. Yeah, there you go. From Jay. Yeah. Because medical doctors, I guess, are not really doctors. They're basically mechanics. They're physicians.
Well, yeah, mechanics is a bit harsh, I think, and there's clearly some sensitivity and so on goes into it. But having said that, they should stick to curing drug addicts and alcoholics. If somehow he falls down the stairs and breaks his legs, right, that's good for the doctor. You know what I mean? That's the medical doctor. But as the reasons this fellow may have drunk so much he fell down the stairs, you have to ask Vlad himself.
This is what we missed.
I am living proof, Kevin, that alcoholism is not a disease. I've been double jabbed.
Yes, true.
Double jabbed. I'm now immune to alcoholism. I've got antibodies. Or wife, as I call her.
You did a brilliant routine about Jekyll and Hyde, and I recall it in Edinburgh, and you wondered, this kind of fake wonder, how could it be that people take a drink that turns them into some violent monster? Just have a look down one of the fucking streets here.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. It was about Robert Louis Stevenson. Yeah, invented Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, man takes a potion, completely, rampages around the street, committing random acts of violence. How the fuck does someone living in Scotland get the idea for a story like that?
Very good, yes. In fact, I've used a quote from Robert Louis Stevenson as an epigraph to one of the chapters. The quotation, it's attributed to him, but it doesn't appear to have been written. But he does say, sooner or later in life, we all sit down to a banquet of consequences.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so true, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. This is basically what we've established here is if you're having an existential crisis, call Kevin. He's the fourth emergency service. He's right there. If you need to work out what shit's happening.
Well, you see, you can have an existential crisis after drinking too much. You can be thinking, am I here?
Or in hospital.
Where the fuck am I?
Kevin's your man.
I drink, therefore I am.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Very good.
This is what I love. This is what I love about Kevin. It's like every meeting that we ever have, it will always turn into these sorts of things, and Kevin will just intellectualize everything, which I love about this, because essentially he's proving his intelligence, even though he's a Kiwi. He's proving his intelligence. Everything he's got.
I remember once being introduced to this English guy. My ex-wife was working with his daughter, and the daughter introduced me and said, Kevin's from New Zealand. And this fellow said, "Oh, I don't care where anybody's from as long as they amuse me."
Does everyone see what I mean? He'll just intellectualize it.
As soon as he left, he was in his study. And as soon as he left me and the daughter, I pinched 4 of us cigars. I mean, what is that? The basic natural recompense.
Yep. Yeah, that's the going rate. It's the going rate. It's the going rate. Listen, Kevin, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Stick around. We've got loads of fun and games. Let's bring everyone back here. There you go. Hello.
Brilliant. Now we're going to move on from our very own Locks Human Hobbs to our another act. But before we do, don't forget it's not too late to donate. This show is obviously free to watch. It's not free to make. So you can donate along the bottom there. It's PayPal.me/FreeFest Online. Thank you so much for the lovely comments that have been coming through as well. Basil Bottler, Jay Saunders, JC Scapades, and of course Christy. Now, just to fill you in, Christy, on something we're thinking of doing is, as things open up, we're looking at going from weekly to monthly, which means you can have a jam-packed show, even better, slicker, more fun content, but it's going to be in your arm sockets once a month rather than once a week. And we are now going to go on to another act who's worked at Laughing Horse venues all around. I've never been heckled by a producer before, but there we go. A wonderful act who has been working with Laughing Horse all around the world. Just don't believe any of the allegations. His name's Donal Vaughan. Let's see him in action.
Oh, shit.
Oh, right. Apparently, I'm the show now. Yeah, we had a technical problem there with Donal Vaughan's live feed. So we've got the man here himself. We're not going to see him in action. Oh, we can see him, but we couldn't hear him. It's a joy to have him in the studio. It's the marvellous Donal Vaughan.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, Donal. Sorry about that. We've had a few technical problems.
I don't know. I don't remember doing that clip as well.
Oh, don't you?
No, I just saw the clip there, and it's me, and then facing the stage, and then there's a woman perpendicular on her own. I don't know, but I'm eating a strawberry, so this is the live feed. You can see this. So it looks like there's just one woman at the side.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Oh, back when I had more hair and more weight. Oh, I'm doing signs. I'm doing science comedy. Now, before we get into too much details, is this a doctor or a quack?
Yeah, very good. Very good.
We may need to bring Kevin back on to determine that.
So, how are things? You're in Brighton, I believe. You're there all month.
I am. I'm melting away. I've been living in Iceland for a year, so I've been here now for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I'm melting in mid 20-degree heat. But it's been lovely time. It's been nice catching up with everyone and actually gigging on stage regularly and doing my kid show again. First time in 18 months. So it's been nice.
Yeah, I think we all look forward to getting back to doing live shows, didn't we? I mean, after doing stuff like this where technical stuff can go wrong, etc., and not having that audience in front of you. And I was thinking that right up until, I can tell you exactly when, 5 p.m. last Saturday afternoon. I was doing a Saturday afternoon show in the centre of Edinburgh. What could go wrong? I tell you what could go wrong. People in the audience is what could go wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, you're probably familiar with this from not from your kids' shows, but from adult shows where during the Edinburgh Fringe, if you had to say an afternoon slot, it would be so kind of quiet, and well behaved until Saturday, and then you get people every town in Scotland decided to go through for the fringe for the afternoon, starting drinking when they got onto the train in Dundee or Glasgow or whatever.
That would be my kid show.
Yeah, being half cut by the time they got to Waverley Station. And by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, being so drunk, they just couldn't actually understand words. And we had in this show at the Monkey Barrel, we had 12 people. Now, this is a venue that at the moment can only have a capacity legally of 28. And 12 of them from the same small town in Fife called Kennaway. And the reason, Donal, I know they were from Kennaway, is one of them kept on shouting out, Kennaway! All the way through the fucking show.
Yes.
Nightmare. And it's when things like that happen, you think, actually, I quite like doing online shows. These bastards are pissed up in their own houses. At least they're not disrupting. But about that, they were. I'm pretty certain, because after years of noticing this kind of behaviour pattern, they were quite clearly doing coke in the toilets, because they kept on going backward and forwards to the toilets. They were in 2 separate tables. They kept on kind of chatting to someone at the table, things being passed under the table. One would go to the toilet, and then they'd come back from the toilet with the face mask off, because you can't stop wearing a face mask. Basically, the only thing that fell down with the plan for the afternoon is you should have racked up a couple of lines on the mask.
Yes.
And put that on and snorted it during the show. But that's been the one blip. Apart from that, it's been lovely being back. And how the shows in Brighton gone? Because you're doing kids shows, that's your main thing. You're doing adult too.
Yes, so I'm doing my kid show in the Walrus in Brighton, and funny you should mention, because that's the idea. Like, because kids, while they are sober, for the most part, they do tend to shout things out during the show, and yeah, sometimes it could be. I've had quite a few. I was doing a show a couple of weeks ago, and I was using a plasma ball and discussing electricity and electrons and how they can use my body to get grounded. And I'm saying how attractive I am. And then one of the children shouted out saying, "Yes, you're very attractive." So I took the compliment. And then another child said, "Yeah, you're very attractive." So eventually I had to stop and say to the audience, could people please stop saying how attractive I am? I don't need this press. But yeah, so kids can be and they don't mind, like, they don't mind doing a live review either. If they don't, like, one kid she shouted out at one point, he goes, "He's a very chatty man." And another kid, actually last week, I was doing a joke, and one or two of my jokes might be about farts or poo or bums or things like that. And at one point, a kid in the back shouted out, goes, I did another joke about bums, and he shouted out, he goes, "Why is he so obsessed with bums?" And I had to tell the audience that I'm not obsessed. I have a healthy obsession. So kids are God, I could only imagine what kids would be like with alcohol in them, because they're very honest. But it all makes it part of the fun, and that's especially for the kid show. Having that live element is what makes it so special, you know.
Yeah, what's great about your kids shows though is they're not just kids entertainment; they're educational, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's all about kind of, I suppose, getting kids and grown-ups into science. All about just making it more fun, because like, I like science, and even in school I found science very boring. It's always been very just very dull, and it's so my whole thing is about trying to just make it a bit more, because if you get kids interested in something, then they'll go after it, when they're older. So it's all about getting that spark of interest into children before, some teacher knocks it out of them,
Yeah, and before they get access to the internet and they think science is a conspiracy theory.
Yes, there's a lot of anti-science now. Science is often portrayed as the villains now in movies and such.
Yeah. Expert. Oh, we know. What do these experts know?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should educate themselves by watching bullshit conspiracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's odd to see how people would rather believe their mate Dave down the pub than a man who spent 10 years researching it,
Or they'd rather believe some guy who's never left the house, but has got all kinds of ridiculous conspiracies and puts them out on the World Wide Web.
Yes.
Denouncing science, ironically, via the medium of one of the greatest scientific achievements of the last 50 years.
Yes. And I think that's it. I think ultimately, I think people like to believe whatever answer they want to believe. So they already nearly have the answer nowadays. And then they'll just pick whatever evidence matches their opinion, and they disregard. It's called confirmation bias. They'll just disregard any evidence that kind of counteracts that.
Oh yeah, totally. And people were like that, like before the pandemic. I think the pandemic has just thrown that into such stark relief, hasn't it? People will listen to they'll listen to the scientific evidence that lets them do what they want to do.
Yes, and they'll listen to the evidence, which means they don't have to follow any rules, or they don't have to be respectful to other people, or do like that. So it's interesting. The fact is, it's this type of thing. If you were told chocolate is bad for you, people would go, it's probably not. If you were told broccoli is bad for you, people would quit it the next day, because they already want to do it anyway. So.
So now before you're over in Brighton for the whole month, but
yes,
intriguingly, you are now based in Iceland, isn't it?
Yes, so I ended up going to Iceland last year. I knew some comedians over there, and I was in Ireland for 3 months on my own. So I just decided one day they were still doing comedy over there, so I went over for a month, and that was 11 months ago. So I've ended up just kind of settling down a bit. So I'm actually going back now in a couple of weeks to do the Reykjavik Fringe. So after this Fringe, I'm heading back, quarantining for 5 days. And then I'll be bringing my kid show and a solo show called Homo Sapien to the Reykjavik Fringe. So it'll be interesting to do my kid show in a new country. So,
and how do you find it? I mean, I'm guessing Iceland agrees with you.
Yes, Icelanders mightn't, but yeah, it's fun. It's fine. It's a little expensive, but I don't drink, so that's mine. And if you want to have pickled lamb penis, certainly Iceland is the place to go to. But no, it's fun. It's a nice country. It's small. That was the thing when I came to Brighton. All of a sudden, I realized how busy the world is, because I actually got used to Iceland, even in Reykjavik, the capital. It's less populated than Brighton, I'd say.
Yeah, but it's well, yeah, like you say, you're lucky you don't drink.
Yes,
because
it is. Everything is roughly about twice the price you'd pay in the UK, and actually there is they do have a chain of Iceland supermarkets in Iceland.
Well, do they?
Yes, so they have a chain of they have Iceland in, and you can go in, you can go down to the where the pizzas are, and you can see on the box it'll say £1, and then you end up paying about £3.50 for it if you. So, but I'd only actually read recently that apparently Iceland, the supermarket, they went to copyright the name Iceland. So if a tour group, for example, wanted to call themselves the Iceland Tour Group, they could be sued. So eventually the government had to go to them and say, look, a supermarket can't own our country's name. And eventually they end up having, but there was a period where they had actually copyrighted the name Iceland.
Shit, right. Our producer, Alex Petty, has just pointed out that the population of the entire country of Iceland is 350,000, which is only 100,000 more than the population of Brighton and Hove. There you go.
Well, there you go. So the population of Reykjavik is probably then smaller of all of Brighton. And
I once did an advert for Iceland for the supermarket.
okay.
Yeah. With Kerry Katona.
Oh, Saint Kerry, yes.
Yeah. You know how some celebrities kind of got an image of what they're like. You know, you think they can't be like that public image. You know, Kerry
Yes.
Katona has this public image of being a thick as shit. In real life, Kerry Katona is a thick as shit drug fiend.
Oh well, that's nice. That she's so honest, and that's the thing. There's no falseness about her, and you've got to respect that.
Well, I'll tell you how we did this. I was actually she was in a studio in Manchester.
Yes.
And I was in the studio in Leith, and we did it a bit like this show. We did it remotely. I would say my lines, then she would say her lines, and it all get mixed together. And Kerry Katona's opening line was, "Hi, I'm Kerry Katona." And do you want to know how many takes that took, Donald? 10. Took 10 takes.
10. Okay. Was she saying she was Kerry Corona? Or what? Did she, you know?
I am Kerry Katona. Oh, can we do it again? And 10 takes before she got her own bloody name right?
Yeah.
And then the catchphrase at the end of this whole series of ads that were running for years was, "That's why mums go to Iceland." And that was Kerry Katona's final line. And she couldn't do it. She couldn't deliver it. So eventually, my character had to deliver Kerry Katona's own line, by which time the producer came on and said, "Yeah, that's you done. You're fine. You can go home now." So Christ knows how long Kerry Katona was in this fucking studio in Manchester. But that's...
Don't meet your heroes, I suppose, is the moral of that story.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got to pick your people that appear in magazines that people only read when they're having a shit.
Yes.
Listen, Donald, it's lovely having you here on the show. We're going to move on. No, actually, we're not moving on quite yet. Give us a plug for your Brighton show. It's a good show, isn't it?
So, yes, I'm doing Science Magic, and it's on every Friday and Saturday at 3:30 in the Walrus in Brighton. So I'm doing this weekend, and I'm doing next weekend. And I'm also normally probably doing the Pick the Fringe. So there's Pick the Fringe every Friday and Saturday, normally in the Walrus. It's I think it's 7 o'clock. And then there's another one at 8:45. So I'm normally always hanging around comedy. So doing them as well, yes.
Excellent. Well, I'll see you next Friday because I'm doing Pick the Fringe next Friday and Saturday, and doing my solo show, which I'm very much looking forward to. Hopefully, we won't get a big coach party of people who've come to Brighton to get pissed and take cocaine.
No, hopefully not. No.
Okay,
unless they're coming to my kid show.
Rejoin the guys. Here we are. We're coming back. And
brilliant. I genuinely do implore anyone that is in Brighton to go and check out that show. It pains me to say it because I don't like being nice to Donal, but it is a brilliant show. Absolutely check that out. So now we move on to the penultimate part of the show, which we have a graphic for. It's absolutely not a rip-off of another popular show because we would never do that. It's called Would I Tell You the Truth?
Wow.
Look at that. So me and Vlad are going to tell you 2 statements, and it goes up to Donal and Kevin and Jay. Now
No one mystery.
I kind of thought we'd crack on. So me, Vlad, and Jay are going to tell 3 statements. One of them is false. The other 2 are true. It goes up to Donal and Kevin in order to find out who is the faker. Vlad, you're going to go first.
Well, I'm just going to say Jay's going to come out with a statement to say why he was late coming in for this part of the show, and we have to guess whether that's true or not. I was masturbating. True. Right.
I was using the bed behind me. I was using the bed behind me.
Too much information. Right. I was thrown out of a pub in London. That's obviously true. I was thrown out of a pub in London because the landlord mistook me for Ewan McGregor. The landlord thought I was Ewan McGregor, and I got thrown out of the pub.
Okay, so do you want us to say if that's true or false?
No, we're now going to go on to Jay. Jay, you're next. What's your statement?
I actually auditioned for series 1 of Big Brother way ago, and yes, I almost got in.
Wow, that's great. So far we have been chucked out of a pub for being mistaken for Ewan McGregor, going for series 1 of Big Brother. Mine is that I had to resit my maths GCSE because I missed it as I got attacked by a badger who had been trapped in a culvert. So those are the 3 things. Is it Vlad's mistaken identity? Is it Jay's audition for Big Brother? Or is it my badger battling? Donal, which one do you think?
Well, so I'm assuming that the landlord wasn't blind. He could see, Vlad, could he?
You could see.
Okay, so I can't. I mean, I've Googled Ewan McGregor. I mean, I don't. And I do feel that Jay would be quite not a media whore, but you know what I mean. So, and I don't think Dave has enough meat on him to feed a badger. So, I mean, logically, then it would seem that Jay must be telling the truth. Because obviously he would never lie anyway, except for the masturbating in the room. So
I love your work, and we're going to go over to Kevin. Kevin, you have 1 supplementary question that you can ask anyone. Who do you think is lying?
Okay, so Vlad been kicked in the pub, Big Brother, and Badger.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vlad's not telling the truth. And Jay's not telling the truth, and neither are you. All fucking lying.
We're all fucking liars. Interesting. I like that. I mean, you've seen all of our show posters. You know we are.
yes.
Why would a landlord throw Vlad out looking like, what did you on the you? Done to him, I mean.
Well, he thought I was Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Yeah, why didn't he like Ewan McGregor?
Well, I don't have to look like him.
I mean, no one would throw Vlad out of a pub because they know how much money they'd make off him. So maybe if they did think it was Ewan,
could have been at the time of Train Spotting coming out, and I might have been doing heroin in the toilets. That's possible.
That's not looking like Ewan McGregor, though, is it? I've heard good reasons for taking heroin, but look, well, I look like Ewan McGregor, I shouldn't take heroin. And
if they threw every Scot out of a toilet for doing heroin, the 3 sisters would be empty, not 11 months of the year.
I'm not for 1 minute suggesting it's a sensible business model. All I'm saying, I wasn't taking heroin. All I'm saying is the landlord of this pub thought I was Ewan McGregor and threw me out.
Okay, well, enough of the debate. I love this. The 3 choices were that Vlad got kicked out for looking like Ewan McGregor. Jay was auditioning for Big Brother. Thank you very much. And I got battled by a badger. We got Donal, who's going for Jay. Kevin thinks that they're all lies. You're going for?
Jay, for you.
You're going for me. Donal's going for Jay. Would the person that is telling the truth make themselves known?
Right. Yep. I was in the Haverstock Arms in Hampstead with 2 Scottish mates, and it was, I don't know what had happened. There was some kind of celebrity party going on, and loads of kind of faces from TV and media were there, and me and my mates stood at the bar drinking 3 feet away from Ewan McGregor. So like 3 Scots, and then another Scot, a couple of spaces from the bar away from us. When the landlord called last orders, Ewan McGregor shouted, "You're a fucking arsehole." When the landlord's back was turned, all he could hear was some Scottish guy calling him a fucking arsehole. He thought it was me. He turned around and said, "Get out, you barge."
I mean, that is a brilliant story because when condensed, that boils down. Somebody thought that I was Ewan McGregor from the back of my head. And I think that makes it my favourite anecdote I've ever heard. But we are now going to move on to my favourite game of all. It's Desert Island Digs. This is where we ask our wonderful contestants, who would you strand on a desert island in order to remove those pesky people from society? We're going to go over to Donal first. Who would be your dick on the desert island?
Mine is quite a personal choice. It's a person I've never actually met. But when I was in Australia last year, I had a woman called Julie Bunny who wanted me banned from the Fringe. She thought I was a quote from her. She wanted to know the name of the fat, vile, greasy comedian, at least she called me a comic, who was talking about male genitalia and other body parts.
In your kids' show.
No, it was during my one of the glorious Laughing Horse shows, but we didn't know she had brought her 14-year-old son to a 15-plus show. She's a bad parent, not me. So... yeah, and she referred to me as Beyond Foul, which when I return to Australia, that's going to be my show title, Beyond Foul.
I think it should be male genitalia and other disgusting things. I think
that's my new knockoff Harry Potter series.
In both, there's quite a lot of ones. Right, Kevin, which dick would you put on a desert island?
I don't know if you can see this.
Chasing the Scream, Jonathan Harry.
Johan Harry.
Johan Harry, Chasing the Scream, incredibly popular book about drug addiction and so on. I really want him exiled to this island. He is responsible, I think, for people not understanding anything about addiction. He's the reason. For him, all addicts do is take drugs or drink because they're so unhappy. It never once occurs to them that drugs are good, that alcohol feels good. You know what I mean? People shoot up heroin because there's no feeling like it. This is not a kid show, is it?
No.
And on that note of take drugs, kids, we are going to...
Just because I say they're good doesn't mean you can take them. I mean, chocolate's good too, isn't it?
Yes.
There are a lot of things that are good, but that doesn't mean that you can take them so much that you become dependent on them, or really.
Oh, well,
chocolate.
Too late then.
Like really, no. But he is very much one for saying every addict, every alcoholic who ever lived is suffering some hideous trauma. You know what I mean? I suffered a hideous trauma reading this shit. So yeah, he's the man for me on that desert island. Totally.
Okay, I absolutely love that. And any kids that are watching, please don't inject heroin or chocolate. Well, it's been an absolute joy to be back here on the Thursday show. A huge thank you to our wonderful guests, Donal Vaughan and Kevin McCarron. We are going to be back for our final weekly show next Thursday, the 24th of June. Be there, and then we'll go on to the weeklies. Don't forget to find out the Brighton Fringe Fest. Don't forget that it's not too late to donate, but a huge thank you to Vladimir McTavish. Huge thank you to Jay SODAGAR, Donal Vaughan, Kevin McCarron. I've been Dave Chawner. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.